Hello everyone, welcome back to the third episode of this series called Point of View of 1530. In this episode, we are going to review the third round of Candidates 2026. Pragg plays against Javoke Sindarov, and Pragg is playing white pieces while Sindarov has black. Starts with d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop to e7, knight to f3, knight to f6. Seems like queen's gambit decline. Okay. Bishop f4, short castle, e3, c5, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, a3, knight to c6, queen to c2, rook to e8, bishop g5, pinning the knight on f6, pawn to d4. Okay. Bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop, knight e4 attacking the queen, queen to f5. Let's calculate a bit here. What if e takes d, knight takes d, knight takes knight, bishop takes knight? Okay. White probably chooses, I think white should develop the bishop. Let's see what white does. Oh, okay. Attacks the back bishop. And okay. Bishop to b4 and Pragg plays king to d1. Pawn takes pawn. Bishop to d3, of course, to protect the king. Queen plays g6. Now queen wants to attack the g2 pawn. Pawn takes pawn. And pawn to f5 by Sindarov, attacking the knight on e4. Knight goes back to g3. Bishop to c5, attacking the e3 pawn. Now Pragg plays queen to c3. Engine shows that it's a mistake. Let's see what could be the reason behind Pragg playing queen to c3. Is it simply because if bishop takes on e3, white can give a discovered attack by playing bishop takes f5? So pawn has to capture the bishop, but then rook is supporting the bishop, so that's not possible. What is the thought behind queen c3? What if I just take the e3 pawn, bishop takes e3 like this, and you're playing c5? Okay. Trying to limit the squares of dark squared bishop. Okay. So white played queen c3 and black played pawn to e5. Now there is an open threat of pawn push and it's a double attack. White moves back, bishop to c2, pawn to e4 anyway, knight to d2, rook pinning the knight, rook to d8, king to c1, queen to g5. Queen g5, why? Because most probably black wants to push the f pawn and then c8 bishop gets activated. White plays rook to e1, queen to e7, rook to e2, bishop to b4, attacking the queen, queen b2, pawn to a5, knight to b3. Instead of knight to b3, is there any possibility to create any kind of problems for black on the king side by perhaps playing knight h5, maneuvering to knight f4? There is a knight d5 square available for attack. We are constantly eyeing on g7 square for a checkmate. White plays knight to b3. Rook to a6 is played, and then the knight moves to d4. It is an outpost. Queen to g5, king to b1. Pragg king is on a run here. Pawn to h5, king to a2, pawn to h4, attacking the knight. Knight moves to c1, bishop moves to d7, rook moves to d1, rook moves to c8, again knight moves to d2, trying to support the pawn on c4. Rook moves to b6, creating a discovered attack. Once the bishop captures the knight, the black rook would attack the queen. But the rook is not supported right now, so black has to first support the rook and then create any discovered attack. So white plays pawn to c5 and rook to c5, which apparently is a miss. A better move for black would have been bishop to c5. Thus a discovered attack for this rook. Alright. So the c8 rook captured the c5 pawn. Queen plays to b3. Check. King moves to h8. King is quite secure there. Queen moves to f7. And now black to play and win. It's a very interesting position. Black has 4 of their pieces, 2 minor and 2 major, arranged towards the white king. And now you need to find the correct move to start the attack. Yes, it is rook takes c2, check. A double exclamation mark move, a brilliant move by Sindarov. Pragg plays king to b1. What happens if knight takes c2? What happens is when you play your knight to c2, bishop can give a check to e6 and your queen is lost. That's it. In a double attack, your queen is lost. So the knight on d4 is trying to guard the e6 square. So the bishop on c2 becomes a free piece. Already the king moved to b1. Rook took the d2 knight as well. Rook takes rook, bishop takes rook. It's a check. Again the king moved to a2 and bishop took the e3 pawn. Sindarov is 7 points ahead in material right now. It's impossible for Pragg to come back from this position. Queen to d7, bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop, queen f6, and here Pragg resigned. Sindarov has won the match and taken a lead into the Candidates 2026. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, share, and like this episode. Stay tuned for the 4th one. Thank you.